They thought I was just some eccentric hermit living in a cabin. They thought they could bulldoze my peace, pave over my history, and hide behind a corporate HOA seal. But what they did unrealize what their fancy surveyors failed to check was that the scenic overlook where they built their multi-million-dollar clubhouse was on community property. It was my backyard. I'm Elias, and I live on a 10-acre peninsula that my family has owned since the Great Depression. When the Azure Cove development started rising on the mainland, I kept to myself. But then, the construction crews crossed the line. They cleared my ancient oaks, poured a massive concrete foundation, and built a glass-walled clubhouse and infinity pool right on my point. The HOA president, a man named Sterling, told me the land had been reclaimed for the public good via a forgotten utility easement. He offered me a generous $5,000 for my troubles. When I refused, he laughed and said, "The building is already up, Elias. You can't fight progress." I didn't fight. I researched. I went to the state archives and found the original 1920s land grants. It turned out Sterling was half right about the easement, but he missed the most important part. My property didn't just include the point. It included the narrow neck of the peninsula, the only place where the neighborhood's private road connected to the county highway. According to the deed, that road was a permissive driveway, not a public right-of-way. I waited for the night of their grand opening gala. The clubhouse was glowing, filled with the city's elite. That's when I drove my old tractor to the neck of the peninsula. I didn't use a sign. I used a 20-foot shipping containers and a pile of gravel. I blocked the road completely. By 10 p.m., Sterling was at my barricade, screaming, "You're trapping 300 people. This is kidnapping. Open this road immediately." I stepped out of the shadows with my surveyor's map. "Actually, Sterling, you're trespassing on my private driveway. And since you've built an unauthorized commercial structure on my point, I've decided to close the access for safety inspections." The police arrived, but when they saw the certified plat, they told Sterling it was a civil matter. They couldn't force me to open my private land. The guests had to be evacuated by a fleet of small pontoon boats across the bay. It was a PR nightmare. The HOA tried to sue, but the judge saw how they'd grabbed my land and denied their request. To get their road back in to keep their clubhouse from being demolished, the HOA had to settle. They didn't just pay me for the land. They had to buy the entire peninsula at 5 times its appraised value, pay for my new estate in the mountains, and sign a legal admission of guilt. Now, I live where the wind is quiet and no one mentions progress. As for Azure Cove, the clubhouse is still there, but every time the residents drive over that neck of land, they're reminded that a glass house is no match for a man who knows his dirt. Subscribe to BestWithB12 for more videos.